us to imagine our life. Whatever we are, whatever we always observe the fractions, but technically we cannot apply it. That's why in today class we are just for the fraction and its types. Before going for the fraction and its types, we have to understand the what is the meaning of a fraction. What is the meaning of a fraction? In common language or in loosely speaking, a fraction is a quantity that cannot be represented by a whole number. Or in a general way, we can say that fraction where we need a numerator or a denominator, or we can say that a fraction is an ordered pair of whole numbers. The first one is usually written on the top of the other. One is written on the top of the other, such as half, 3 by 4, 5 by 6, 9 by 8. These all are the example of fractions. And students, one thing more, numerator, the uppermost or the top of the is called numerator and the bottom is called denominator. So that's why a fraction is a upon b, means numerator upon denominator. The first one is on the top number is called the top, and then the denominator is called the bottom number. And in our daily life where we use fraction, students, be proper fraction. Suppose a student is get the eighth part of pizza. Suppose your parents, your father brings a pizza for you, and your mother divides that pizza into 8 equal parts, because you have 8 family members, your grandparents, your grandmother, your sister, and your father, all are these total 8 members in the family, and you get the little bit part, you get the 8 part of that pizza, so that you are getting 1/8 of that pizza. This is also a fraction. Similarly, on your birthday cake, yes, on your birthday cake, the cake is divided among the 12 members. Yes, the cake is divided among the 12 members. The cake is divided among the 12 members, and each member is getting that 1/12 part. Each member is getting the 12th part. So how many part you will get? So you will get the 1/12 part, and the remaining part will be 11 by 12. There are lots of example. Cake, you can take the example of fruit. This is one of the example where we has shown that a kiwi is 1 kiwi and a half. This represent 1 and a half. This is the example of a mixed fraction. Similarly, students, the watch is also an example of fraction. A lot of example, lot of parts, lot of things in our daily life in which we observe the fraction. Suppose the fan running on the top of the fan running on the ceiling. The ceiling fan has 3 blades. Then each blade is represented by the fraction. Now when we divide the types of fraction, we first of all we have the proper fraction. The proper fraction, the fraction in which the top number, or in which the numerator is less than denominator. In which numerator is less than the denominator, that is called proper fraction. Or where the it's just opposite, where the numerator is greater than the denominator, this is called improper fraction. Proper fraction and improper fraction. Proper fraction means where the top number, means numerator, is less than the denominator, and improper fraction is where the numerator is greater than the denominator. Numerator is less than denominator, that is called proper, and when numerator is more than denominator, that is improper fraction. For example of proper fractions are 1 by 4 or 1 quarter or 5/6. These are the example of proper fraction. Can you imagine the proper fraction of example in your daily life? Yes, recently we talk about the pizza, the part which you get, the piece of cake you get. These all are the example of proper fraction where the numerator is less than denominator. Next one is our equivalent fraction. Equivalent fractions are the fractions that look different but exactly the same amount. The digits may be vary. The digit may be variations in the digits 2, 3 or 4. You can make equivalent fraction by multiplying or dividing the numerator and denominator by the same number. And if you want equivalent fractions, then you can get it. If we can take a simple example, suppose in a test there are two tests conducted by different teachers in your exam, in your weekly test. Suppose took a test, I took the test from 10 marks. At the same time, the test is taken by your Hindi teacher out of 20 marks. And one of the students bring main maths test 5 marks out of 10 and another score 10 marks out of 20. So it means both are getting equivalent fraction, because when we standardize it, when we divide the both by 2, we will get the same number, and this is called equivalent fraction, and this is also called cancelling when they are divided by the same numerator and denominator. Improper fraction, already I told you, an improper fraction is a fraction with the numerator larger than or equal to the denominator. Any whole number can be transferred into an improper fraction. Any whole number can be any whole number can be transferred into, yes, any fraction. Any whole number can be transferred into an improper fraction. How we can transfer? By putting 1 as a denominator. A mixed number is a whole number and a fraction. A improper fraction can be converted into a mixed number, and a mixed number can be converted into a improper. Now students, one thing more. How do we know that two fractions are the same? How do we know that the two fractions are the same? Yes, we cannot tell whether the two fractions are same until we reduce into lowest term. How we convert into lowest term? We can convert into lowest term by dividing the same number. Suppose there is a number 6 by 10 and 35 by 40. So 6 by 10 is not reduced because 2 can be divided into both 6 and 10. And 35 upon 40 is not reduced because 5 divides into 35 upon 40. How do we know that two fractions are same? We have to convert. If we cannot find a whole number, then that can be divided into both numerator and denominator. In this way, students, we are here able to find the concept. We have discussed the fractions and its types. It's not in your daily routines, in your daily time, in your day-to-day life, you face the concept of fraction. If you have any doubt, any confusion regarding that, because you have all discussed the fraction concept in your previous classes also, you have all revised the concept of fraction in your day-to-day life. Can anybody tell me or give me the example of fraction? There are lots of another example or types of fraction, that is unit fraction, that is like fraction, that is unlike fraction. So we will discuss later one by one. But till we are in the today class, we have revised. Oh no, this is not a class, this is just a fun activity. We have discussed the fraction, because without fraction we cannot imagine our life. Can you tell me what is the fraction of 100 rupees note and 500 rupees note? Can you tell me? 100 rupees note and 500 rupees note. Can you represent in? Can you express them in the form of fraction? And if in the form of fraction, and which type of fraction? If it is in a fraction, then which type of fraction? This is 100 upon